everybody. Today we are discussing about a topic types of fibers and refractive index profiles in the optical communication system. So, before going to the details of types of fibers, first of all we have to understand some basic concepts that is regarding to a light. And first of all, the introduction is what do you mean by an electromagnetic wave? You all know that an electromagnetic wave in a vacuum consists of mutually perpendicular oscillating electric and magnetic fields. Okay, here an electromagnetic wave is shown, and you can see that the electric field vector and magnetic field is marked there, that is E and B. Those two are arranged in a mutually perpendicular manner. So we can say that it is a transverse wave because the fields are perpendicular to the direction of wave travel. Okay, all electromagnetic waves, regardless of their frequency, travel through a vacuum at the same speed that of the speed of the light. That is, speed of light is c. C is equal to, we all know that C is equal to frequency in the wavelength, that is equal to C is equal to f lambda. So an electromagnetic wave propagating in the positive x direction will have the velocity C is equal to f lambda. Usually the direction of propagation of an electromagnetic wave is given by the right hand thumb rule. We are not going to the details of that. Actually we want to know what is an electromagnetic wave. So that's all about it. And next is another phenomena, polarization. What do you mean by polarization? And here is some diagrams to describe the polarization. And polarization arises from the direction of the electric field vector with respect to the direction of the light's propagation. Actually polarization represents the direction of the electric field vector. So a light wave's electric field vibrates in a direction perpendicular to the propagation, then it is called a transverse wave. So a transverse wave's electric field vector will be perpendicular to the direction of propagation. So it can be, we can say that it is polarizable. That means its electric field vector is oriented in a single plane, that is in the perpendicular plane. So it is said that it is vertically polarized. So the vertically polarized light is shown in figure B, and here the direction of propagation is shown by an arrow mark, and we are looking from the side of direction of propagation, that is the eye is shown there, and eye is shown there. That means we are looking the electric field vector, so it is oriented in the vertical plane. All E's are oriented in the vertical plane, so it is shown by a single line. So we can say that it is a polarizable, it is polarized to vertical plane, though it is known as a vertically polarized light. If the light is composed of vibrations in many different directions with no preferred orientation, then this light is called unpolarized. So figure A shows an unpolarized light. We can see that here arrow marks are given in different directions. That means it represents the orientation of electric field. So the electric field vibrations, there is electric field vibrations in many different directions. So it is called unpolarized light. And figure C, there is figure C, and in that electric field vector is shown in a single direction, that is horizontal direction. So it is called horizontally polarized light. And in the figure D, it can be seen that the electric field vector orientation is marked in a direction which is making an angle theta with the vertical axis. So we can say that it is linearly polarized light in a direction making an angle theta with the vertical. So this is all about polarization. That means a light is said to be polarized when its electric field vectors are oriented at a particular direction. Okay, then the light is said to be polarized based on the polarization or based on the orientation of the electric field vector. There are different kinds of polarization, that is vertical polarization, horizontally polarized light, like that. Okay, and next term is, what is the next term? Polarization we have discussed. Next is diffraction. What do you mean by diffraction? It is a phenomena of bending of light rays at small apertures. Okay, that is diffraction. And next we have to discuss about reflection and refraction. For that we are using a diagram. We know that light travels fastest in vacuum. So its velocity in vacuum is given by c is equal to what is c? 3 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second. In other substances, the velocity of the light is always less than that of the velocity of the always less than that of c. That is, in other materials, light will travel with a speed which is less than that of 3 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second. The ratio of the velocity of the light in vacuum to the velocity of the light in another medium is called the refractive index of the medium. You should you should by heart the definition of refractive index as the ratio of the velocity of the light in vacuum to the velocity of the light in another medium is called the refractive index of the medium. You should use the term refractive index in the further sections. Okay. So refractive indices are always greater than 1 whenever a ray of light is incident on the boundary that is separating two different media. We can find that a part of the light is reflected back into the first medium and the remainder is refracted as it enters the second medium. And the figure shows that there is a boundary between the two medium, glass and air, and the refractive indices of air is n1, refractive indices of glass is n2. So what is the meaning of refractive indices of air is equal to n1? That means the velocity of the light in air with respect to velocity of the light in vacuum, that is n1. And what is the refractive index of glass? n2. And what is its meaning? The n2 gives the ratio of velocity of the light in vacuum to the velocity of light in glass. Okay. So n2 is the ratio of velocity of the light in vacuum to the velocity of the light in glass, that is n2. Okay, so it is given that n1 is less than n2, that is refractive index of air is less than refractive index of glass. So a light ray is coming from the air and it is incident on the boundary between air and glass, and it is then travel to glass. Then what will happen to that ray? So when it is entering from air to glass, a part of the light ray will be reflected back to the original medium and other part is traveling to glass. We can find it that it is incidenting the boundary with an angle of incidence theta 1 and it is going to the glass by making an angle theta 2 with the vertical. And we can find that the path of the light ray is changed. Okay, so that phenomena is called refraction. Okay, and this figure shows the light refraction at the boundary of two media. So we can say that there is refraction takes place and a part of the light will be reflected back to the same media. And we can also say one relationship between the angle of incidence theta 1 and theta 2, that is sin theta 1 divided by sin theta 2 is equal to n2 divided by n1, and this is called Snell's law. The degree of refraction or bending depends upon the relative refractive indexes of the two media according to Snell's law. Okay, that is Snell's law states that the degree of refraction or bending depends upon the relative refractive indexes of the two media. So Lenz's law gives that sin theta 1 divided by sin theta 2 is equal to n2 divided by n1. Okay. Next is critical angle and total internal reflection. Here also we are using a diagram for explaining. Here a light ray is propagating in a dielectric medium having refractive index n1. First you should concentrate on the figure A. There are two mediums with refractive index n1 and n2, and we can find we are given one medium is glass and the other medium is air. Light rays coming from glass and it is then passed through air. So incident ray is from glass and the ray exit to the medium air. Okay, So glass has a refractive index n1 and air has a refractive index of n2. And we can say that the refractive index of n2 will be less than n1. Okay, air has a lower refractive index than that of the glass. That is n2 will be less than n1. Okay. So the light ray is incident at an angle theta 1 to the normal at the boundary of the two medium. So it is shown that theta 1 is the angle of incidence. Also the ray is refracted. We can see that ray is refracted at an angle theta 2. So angle of refraction is theta 2. Since both of the mediums are having different refractive indices, when a ray of light coming from a medium having refractive index n1, then the ray will be refracted with an angle of theta 2 in the second medium. Okay, and also a part of the light will be reflected back to the original medium or first medium. So it's given as partial internal reflection. Okay, this is the figure A. So the small amount of light is reflected back into the same medium and theta 2 is greater than theta 1. You can see that in the figure theta 2 is greater than theta 1. So by Snell's law, what is Snell's law? Snell's law states that sin theta 1 divided by sin theta 2 equal to n1 divided by n2. We can rearrange that equation by multiplying the terms, that is n1 into sin theta 1 will be equal to n2 into sin theta 2. Okay. In that equation, when sin theta 1 or when theta 1 increases, theta 2 also increase. So at a particular stage, the value of theta 2 becomes 90 degrees. That means here in the figure, theta 1 is angle of incidence. When theta 1 is increasing, theta 2 also increases. So at a particular stage, theta 2, for a particular value of theta 1, theta 2 will be 90 degree. So this angle of incidence is called a critical angle. That means critical angle is that angle of incidence at which the refracted ray will become the horizontal ray. Okay. So this is called the critical angle. The refracted ray travels parallel to the interface between the dielectrics. Okay. For the critical angle is that angle of incidence for which the refracted ray travels parallel to the interface between the dielectrics. So for critical angle, we can say that angle of incidence is theta 1. So for the critical angle, theta 1 will become theta c, and what is theta 2? Theta 2 will become 90 degrees. So sin 90 will be equal to 1. So we can write it as n1 into sin theta c will be equal to n2. So what is sin theta c? Sin theta c will be equal to n2 divided by n1. So critical angle, by Snell's theorem, critical angle can be found out by the equation sin theta c is equal to n2 by n1. These equations you should remember, so because it will be used later. Okay. So critical angle, what is critical angle? Critical angle is that angle of incidence for which the refracted ray travels parallel to the interface between the dielectrics. Okay. So there is another case. If the angle of incidence is greater than the critical angle, that is theta 1 is greater than theta c, then the light is reflected back to the same medium. This is called total internal reflection. When theta 1 is increasing and it is increasing beyond theta c, that is it is increasing beyond critical angle, then the refracted ray will be reflected back to the original medium. This is called total internal refraction or TIR. And figure B and C shows the total internal reflection. Here in figure B, theta c is the critical angle. For the angle greater than critical angle, that is in the figure C. If theta is greater than the critical angle theta c, then the ray will be reflected back to the original medium. Okay, this is what is called total internal reflection. Next, we will go to the details of construction of a fiber optic cable. You know that for the propagation of light in the optical fiber, it uses total internal reflection phenomena. That is why I explained all the basic concepts. And next, we will go to the construction of a fiber optic cable. Sometimes you might have seen a fiber optic cable in your home. We are using cable TV. In the cable TV, the cable is of optical fiber, is made up of optical fibers. You can see its construction like that. It consists of a core, and that is inner part, and out of that there is a cladding, and out of that cladding there is a primary cladding, and after the primary cladding there is a strength member, and these all are encapsulated in a cable jacket. This is a fiber optic cable. Okay, and we will go to the details of every sections of fiber optic cable. First, what is core? Usually the core is the central part of the fiber optic cable, and that carries the light signal and is called fiber core. Okay, core is that part that carries the light signal in the case of optical fiber cable, and it is made up of silica, glass or plastic, both silica, glass or plastic, and the diameter of the fiber core is typically 8 micrometer, that is for single mode fiber, or it may be 50 micrometer or 62.5 micrometer for multi-mode fibers. And what is single mode fiber and what is multi-mode fiber, that we will discuss in the next topic. Okay, so you should remember that the diameters of the fiber core is very small for the single mode fiber, that is in the range of 8 micrometer to 10 micrometer, and for the multi-mode fibers it is in the range of 50 micrometer or 62.5 micrometer. The core may be the fiber optic core may be made up of silica, glass or plastic material, and the plastic fibers uses polymer material. Okay, this is all about the core. But next is the cladding, that is outer portion of that of core, and the layer that surrounds the fiber core is called the cladding. It is also made up of glass or plastic. The diameter of the cladding is typically 125 micrometer, and it helps in the light confinement inside the core. The refractive index of the cladding is always less than that of the core. Okay, cladding is also made up of glass or plastic, and when we are using a cladding, and we will select a material that whose refractive index is less than that of core. So the cladding refractive index will be less than that of the core refractive index. Okay, and cladding is usually surrounds the core. It is shown in this figure. Okay, cladding is surrounding the core. And next section is, what is next section? Next is the primary cladding. So after the cladding, the primary coating is made up of plastic. Okay, primary coating or primary cladding is made up of plastic, and that is present after the cladding. Okay, it is also known as a primary buffer. Primary coating is also known as a primary buffer, and this layer does not participate in the light propagation. It provides mechanical protection to the fiber core and cladding. You know that this primary cladding structure is out of that of core and cladding, and actually it is made up of plastic, and it does not take part in the conduction process or light propagation process. It gives mechanical support to the core and cladding structure. Okay, next is the strength member. Okay, the next layer is made up of aramid yarn or Kevlar strength member, or Kevlar, that is used as a strength member, and this is a material. So strength members are made up of aramid yarn or Kevlar strength members, and usually it is used to prevent the breakage of fiberglass during the installation, and strength members are provided to prevent the breakage of the fiberglass during installation. Okay, and after the strength member, and all of this structure will be encapsulated in a cable jacket. Okay, and the cable jacket is the last layer, and it provides mechanical protection to the fiber core and cladding. Okay, this is all about the construction of the optic fiber cable. And next we will discuss about the types of optical fibers, and there are different types of optical fibers, and I will explain the classification. Okay, first, according to the number of modes that can propagate through an optical fiber, the optical fibers can be classified into two, and one is single mode fiber and other is multi-mode fiber. Okay, based on the number of modes using, optical fibers can be classified into single mode fibers and multi-mode fibers. Before that, what do you mean by a mode? Usually, the modes may be viewed as electromagnetic field patterns, which are solutions of Maxwell equations under the given boundary conditions. So, mode is the pattern of electric field vector. Okay, you just remember that. Okay, the mode may be viewed as an electromagnetic field patterns which are solutions of Maxwell equations under the given boundary condition. That is the definition of mode. And the propagation of the light along a waveguide can be described in terms of a set of guided electromagnetic waves called the modes of the waveguide. These guided modes are referred to as the bound or trapped modes of the waveguide. This is all about the mode. What do you mean by a mode? Usually mode is electric field pattern. Okay, how the electric field propagates through some media. Mode represents that. Okay, based on the number of modes, there are classifications like single mode fibers and multi mode fibers, and single mode fibers can propagate only the fundamental mode, but the multi-mode fibers can propagate hundreds of modes. Okay, single mode fibers can propagate only the fundamental mode, and multi-mode fibers can propagate hundreds of modes. And next classification is according to the variations in the material composition of the core. That is, based on the variations in the refractive index, fibers can be classified as a step index fiber and graded index fiber. Okay. Next classification is based on the composition of the core or based on the refractive index of the core, and based on that the classification is, first classification is step index fiber and second classification is graded index fiber. And according to the core size, step index fiber and graded index fiber can be again classified into as 4 categories. First is single mode step index fiber, and the second is single mode graded index fiber. Third one is multi-mode step index fiber, and fourth one is multi-mode graded index fiber. Okay, these are the main classifications of the optical fiber, and based on the core size or core radii, step index fiber and graded index fiber can be again classified as a single mode step index fiber, single mode graded index fiber, multi-mode step index fiber, and multi-mode graded index fiber. These are all about the classification of the optical fiber. Next we will discuss about what is step index fiber. Okay, and we can represent it with a diagram. In the case of step index fiber, the refractive index of the core is uniform and it undergoes an abrupt change or a step change at the core cladding boundary. Okay, if you are assuming an optical fiber and its transverse section is shown in the figure, we can say that there is an inner circle and outer circle. Inner circle represents the core part and outer circle represents the cladding part. Okay, and the boundary is represented between the core and cladding. The boundary is represented by the inner circle circumference. Okay, so it is shown in the figure that N1 is the refractive index of a core, N2 is the refractive index of cladding. So in the case of step index fiber, the refractive index of the core is uniform and it undergoes an abrupt change at the core cladding boundary. So we can represent the refractive index profile as the step wave. Okay, so core has a refractive index N1, so it is shown like a straight line, and at the core cladding interface it has an abrupt change from N1 to N2, so it is represented by a step. Okay, so if you are drawing N of R, N1 is and N2 is marked there, and here from the N1 to N2 there is an abrupt, at the boundary there is an abrupt change from N1 to N2. So refractive index profile can be drawn like that. Okay, here A is the radius of A represents the radius of the inner circle or core. Okay, so we can write the refractive index profile equation as N of R. N of R is refractive index with respect to radius. Okay, R. When R changing, how the refractive index is changing. So whenever the radius is less than A, that means radius is less than the radius of the core, then the refractive index will be N1. So we can write N of R will be equal to N1 for R less than A. And what is the refractive index N of R? Whenever R greater than or equal to A, when radius is greater than or equal to A, then the refractive index will be N2. Okay, so that represents the refractive index of cladding. So N of R will be equal to N1 for R less than A, and N of R will be equal to N2 for R greater than or equal to A. That is all about the step index fiber. And next is the graded index fiber. It is represented by GI, capital GR, graded index fiber. And in the in this fiber, the refractive index of the core is not constant. We know that in the case of step index fiber, the refractive index of the core is uniform. But in the case of graded index fiber, refractive index of the core is not constant throughout. It decreases gradually as a function of radial distances from the fiber center. So, the refractive index of the graded index fiber decreases gradually as a function of radial distances from the center of the fiber. The nature of the variation of the refractive index profile of the graded index fiber may range from triangular, parabolic to any higher order profile. Okay, and the figure shows the variation of the refractive index of the graded index fiber. It is shown that it's a fiber optic cable's transverse section is shown, and it is represented by two circles. The inner circle represents the core, whose radius is a. Outer circle represents the cladding interface. And we can draw the refractive index profile as shown in the figure, and we can find that the refractive index vary as a function of radial distance. You can see that. Okay, that means it is not constant in the case of graded index fiber, but the cladding refractive index will be constant, that is N2. So we can represent the equation of refractive index profile for graded index fiber by the equation n of r equal to n1 into 1 minus 2 delta of r by a whole raised to alpha, that is whole raised to 1 by 2 for r less than a. That means whenever the radius is less than a, that means inside the core the refractive index will be given as n of r will be is equal to n1 into 1 minus 2 delta r by a whole raised to alpha whole raised to 1 by 2. So it will be varying inside the core based on this equation. And next is the cladding. Whenever r greater than or equal to n, whenever r greater than or equal to, it will be equal to n2. Okay, so n of r will be equal to n2. N2 is a constant, and we can represent N2 in terms of N1 as N1 into 1 minus delta will be equal to N2, but it will be a constant value in the case of a graded index fiber. So in the case of graded index fiber, refractive index of the core will be varying with respect to radial distance. Okay, and it is represented by an equation N1 into 1 minus 2 delta into r by a whole raised to alpha, r by a raised to alpha whole raised to 1 by 2. That is the equation. So that's all about this session. Sorry. So that's all about this types of optical fibers. And there is another classification also, that is step indexed, single mode step indexed fiber, multi-mode step indexed fiber, single mode graded index fiber, and multi-mode graded index fiber, etc. We will discuss that classification in the next session. Okay.